Speducation. I am your host, Brandon Reed, and today we have a new lesson. So without further ado, let's dive into today's lesson. Today's lesson, manifestation determination hearings. So as a special education teacher, there are a lot of conferences and meetings that you have to take part in. You have the initial case conference, you've got annual case conferences, you've got revision conferences, move-in conferences, even a reevaluation conference. But there's one type of conference that you hope you never have to attend, and that's called a manifest determination meeting. You're probably wondering, what is a manifest determination meeting? Well, simply put, a manifest determination meeting is a conference that takes place when a student with a learning disability has accumulated 10 days of out-of-school suspension or is pending expulsion. Now, because of such legislation such as IDEA and FAPE, free and appropriate public education, we can't really expel students with special needs. We can still provide them with services if they do get expelled, but before we get to that point, we have to hold what is called a manifestation determination hearing. Now, what is the main purpose of the meeting? Well, the main purpose of the meeting is to address the behavior of the student, more specifically the incident that led to the proposed expulsion. And the manifest coordinator, the one who is overseeing the meeting, has to hear from all parties. They have to look at all of the data, and they need to discuss what are the next steps. And it all comes down to the answering of two questions. The first question is, was the behavior the direct result of a failure on the part of the school district to implement the student's IEP? The second question is, was the child's behavior caused by, or did it have a direct and substantial relationship to the child's disability? If the answer to either question is no, then the school can move forward with disciplinary actions, which may include expulsion. However, even if expulsion is decided upon, the student would still be provided special education services. How this looks would depend on the school. Now, if the answer to either question is yes, then the school must then reinstate the student to the school with additional provisions, such as an FBA, a functional behavior assessment, and a BIP, a behavioral intervention plan, if they don't already have one, and then any other services that would help the student to be successful in the school. Now, manifest determination hearings have to take place within 10 days of the incident or 10 days of the decision by the school to expel the student. Now, as I said in my previous video, each state is different. So if you're curious about how the timeline works for a manifestation determination hearing in your state, feel free to go to Google, type in your state, and then type in special education timelines, and you should be able to find that information. Another important item is who attends. So the attendees vary from school to school and from state to state, but these are the general individuals that are going to be involved. So you have individuals like the school administrator, the special education teacher, the general ed teacher, a manifest coordinator. That's usually somebody that's outside of the school that they bring in to kind of oversee. A individual that's not necessarily related to anybody at the table. Then you have the student and the parents. Sometimes you may have a dean of students, a counselor, or a behavioral interventionist. It just depends on who the school invites to the meeting. But the individuals that I listed are the main parties that are going to take place in the meeting. Now, it is extremely important that parents attend. And the reason why is because parents know their child better than anyone else. So the more information the parent can bring to the meeting, the more information that the manifest coordinator can use to make a decision at the very end. Now, another reason why it's important for the parent to be there is because if the parent disagrees with the ruling, then they have the right to appeal the decision. However, if the parent is not present, it makes it harder, not impossible, but harder to appeal the decision since they didn't really take part in the meeting, and they were offered multiple attempts to try to set up the meeting. Now, manifest determination hearings can be scary, not just for the student and not just for the parent, but also for the special ed teacher. Because when they ask that question, Was it a failure on the part of the school to implement the IEP? I always felt like I was under the microscope, like they were basically questioning my ability to do my job. But as long as the special ed teacher is following the IEP to a T and crossing all of their T's and dotting all of their I's, there's nothing to worry about. The main thing to remember in this meeting is that it's set up to not really punish the individual, but to find the best option for them. Because if they're not doing well in the general ed setting, then obviously we need to look at other avenues. And maybe that is another facility, or maybe it's expulsion, maybe not for the whole year, but for part of the year. But the main thing is to help the student. Wow, that was a heavy topic. And a lot of people don't like talking about manifest determination hearings, and that's okay. So, what are we going to be talking about next week? Next week's lesson, why I chose to be a special education teacher. So at the beginning of this channel, I introduced myself. I talked a little bit about who I was, but I thought that it was important to understand why I went into special education, because there might be individuals that are watching this, or you may know somebody that is interested in special education. So any kind of insight that I can give to that person might be good for them to know. What are some of the challenges that you're going to face as a special ed teacher, and why is it a career that I decided to go into? Now, if you liked what you saw, please click the like button. And if you want updates on future videos, feel free to click the subscribe button and ring the bell for updates on future videos. And as always, if you have questions or comments, or you have a topic that you would like me to cover on this channel, please leave that in the comments section, and I'd be more than happy to talk about it. And if you know somebody that might benefit from this channel, please make sure to share that with them. And until next time, class dismissed.